Hello there, I'm Scotty, and you're not.
And I'm BigLT, DJ Let's Play BigLT Radio.
This wasn't exactly planned like the Captain Ron one, but we are...
It just so happened to happen. Oh, speaking of turning phones off, I'll be right back. Don't worry, just keep going.
Okay, so we are talking about the movie from 1987, Mannequin. It's back there.
A movie I grew up with when I was a kid. I need the chair.
He needs a chair, yes, because he's too tall.
I am too tall.
I'm not holding it. I'll just hold the damn movie.
I mean,
Damn tape.
you can always just like show it and then just put it down.
Well, I suppose I can put it here now. Mannequin. I'll show the movie so it's...
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I grew up watching this movie.
I was first introduced quite a few years ago. He brought the double pack over and we watched both of them.
Yeah. Of course, you fell asleep.
I did.
I believe so, yes.
I don't know. I remember the end of this, so maybe I fell asleep in the middle of this. The first time.
Exactly.
But I'm starting to get towards the end, like, hey, I remember this part. So, yeah, it's a classic story. Boy meets girl, they fall in love, girl ends up being a mannequin, you know, the whole thing.
Wait, what? What was that last one?
Nicolas Cage. I'm behind him. You can fix that, Nicolas Cage. Batman's not gonna be there, but Nicolas Cage must be there. Okay, so the story here is this guy, Jonathan. I always forget the last name.
Well, first off, you're getting a little ahead of yourself. First off, the movie shows off.
I'm just putting out the plot synopses.
Well, you gotta remember, the movie starts off at
Yes, but I'm
Egypt.
doing the basic plot crunch, and then we'll get to the specifics.
Well, it sounded like you were talking about the movie already, so.
The movie is about this guy named Jonathan, and he makes this mannequin and ends up in his department store where he gets a job, and the mannequin comes to life. She's actually and you can correct me on this, she is from what I got, she's a muse that has helped various artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci.
And Christopher Columbus.
She helped prove the earth is round.
Technically speaking, that was actually...
So AJ Styles, the world is not flat.
Here's another thing, too. If you remember watching the opening credits, it shows her going through time with various things. You see her actually on the boat with Christopher Columbus. And
That's what that whole opening was supposed to be.
Her going through time and doing all those little things, yes.
I just thought it was a weird anime thing. I didn't realize that was supposed to be.
Because she mentions, like, in a little bit into the movie, she's like, yeah, Christopher Columbus told me the world was round, I never saw him again. In the opening, she's on the boat with Christopher Columbus, and she uses, like, an air pump and blows up the earth so it becomes round. And then she's also a part of the Mona Lisa. That's because of Leonardo da Vinci.
She is literally Mona Lisa.
Exactly. Even though you don't get to see it. You don't see it in the movie, you just see it in the opening credits.
So my man Jonathan sucks at having a job. Because he works for this department store, and then he gets fired because it takes too long to do one mannequin. And then he becomes many jobs. He blows balloons.
Okay, I know now you're actually starting with just where with the story of Jonathan, when you forgot. I've been trying to tell you, the movie starts in Edfu, Egypt, when Emma is trying to avoid getting married.
He can remember the name of the Egypt town. I have no idea what the
Edfu.
I would have just, if this was just
Edfu,
me,
Egypt.
If this was just me, I would have said Egypt, because I have a hard time remembering.
It's Edfu, Egypt. Okay.
Edfu, Egypt.
Yes. She's apparently, I want to say, in a tomb of some sort. Her mom comes looking for her because she wants her to get married, but she wants her to get married to a camel dung dealer.
It made me laugh because this reminded me, because I just did Airplane recently, like last month. It reminded me of a spoof movie, because you got like all these mummies and one of them is just like moving their eyes. It reminds me of something you'd see in a spoof movie where like, but it's her inside the mummy.
One of the things I like about the opening is like, it tells you that it's Edfu, Egypt at a certain time. Yeah. But the funny thing is they add a little bit of a thing in there.
Like after lunch.
Right before lunch.
Right before lunch.
Yes.
I was like, right before lunch. A long time ago, like right before lunch.
I just don't know the exact date, but I think it's like
BC. It just says a long time ago, right before lunch. That's what I remember seeing. Mm. But
I thought it was BC.
But yeah, and so what? She wishes for something.
She's praying to the gods to get her out of her current situation.
Yeah, that's right.
The gods answer.
Because her mother is going to have her married to some royal ugly dude. That's it.
No. It's a camel dung dealer.
To me, that's a royal ugly dude.
Of course, the thing is that before Emma gets taken away, her mom's all telling her, is like,
who the hell is dealing camel dung? What the hell?
Well, you gotta remember, they're in Egypt. It's desert.
Yeah.
But here's another thing. Emma's mother tells her, or not Emma, Emmy. Emmy's mother apparently says that the gods won't answer her prayer because the Nile's overflowing, there's a weak shortage, and the Pharaoh has hemorrhoids. But
poor Pharaoh.
But apparently the gods don't care about that, so they actually do take Emmy away from her mom and travel through.
Yeah.
She goes through time with all these other people and everything, and then comes across Jonathan, which he works at a mannequin, like not a department store, but he works at a factory of sorts where they make the mannequins for department stores. Yeah. And apparently he's creating Emmy, but he doesn't know it because she doesn't come to life till later.
And I made a comment at the beginning that this was one of the most detailed mannequins I've ever seen. If you look at the rest of them, she is the most. They all look like just regular generic mannequins, but she looks just like Kim Cattrall. Like it's like that. But then I think that's the point because it says that he took so long to make it.
It took him a week, if I remember right, a week to make just that one. But his boss
Switcher. I remember his name. It's Jonathan Switcher. I remember his last name.
He says it took him a week to make that one mannequin, and he figures he'd make off like 30, 40s a month, which his boss wants like 30, 40s a day. So that because the mannequin is so detailed, that's his problem. He's not.
If you want 30, 40 a day, you might as well get a machine. Like,
well,
what human being can make 30, 40 mannequins a day?
I think they mean overall. I think the whole place, the workplace, has to make 30, 40s a day.
Okay.
But he's taken like this time to make this one mannequin, which takes him a week.
Yeah. So like I said, he's not very good at holding jobs after this. He gets fired from doing the balloons. What gets me is like he's trying to save this guy's kid from floating off, and the guy's like, "Hey, you, what's the word?"
You sure it's it's your channel? I don't care. He says biscuit brain.
Biscuit brain. That's not offensive.
Unless
you have biscuits for brains, and I'm sorry. But like, he's like, "Hey, biscuit brain, let my kid go," and he lets him go. It's like, what? You see that he was floating away, and
not to mention the
tried
kid
to save your kid's life, and now your kid is probably deep right now because he flew up into space.
Not to mention, Jonathan was doing his job by asking, because it was apparently the kid's birthday. He is asking him like, "Hey, what kind of like balloon animal do you want?" And he's like, "I want the big balloon you got hanging there." Yeah. And Jonathan's telling him like, "Hey, you can't have that balloon," but
it's the logo for his job.
Yeah, but he's like, "Listen, biscuit brain, my old man's paying for this party," so he basically gives him the balloon and everything. Then he goes into the space, and the dad's like, "Oh my god!" So he's trying to keep him from flying away, and the dad's like, "Let go of my kid!" And then he flies away. The boss comes around. He's like, "My balloon! You're fired." It's like, well, not his fault. The kid threatened him.
But I like how he's just like, "My balloon," and the guy, it's very quick. It's like, "My balloon, you're fired," and the guy walks out of frame. It's like,
no, he didn't walk out of frame. He just
"You're fired,"
and he just looks up as the kid's flying away with the balloon.
Like,
but then next job he gets after that is apparently sculpting with bushes or whatever. It's one of those jobs.
Shearing.
Well, no, he's clipping bushes and he makes.
Yeah, he's hedge clipping.
That's the one.
Hedge clipping. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, and then he gets fired from that. And then the next job he gets is being apparently in a restaurant making pizzas. And he must be taking so long because he's trying to perfect the pizza.
See, the whole thing with this is a running joke is he's an artist, so he's perfectionist. He's trying to make sure everything is absolutely perfect, except for the whole balloon thing, and that's just slapstick.
There is one other job he apparently gets that we don't see, but they mention it halfway into the movie, and apparently
the restaurant where he said he set it on fire and then he does it.
Yeah, and of course the waiter looks at him and he's like, "It's you! the flambe terrorist.
And then he puts the fire out with the guy's toupee.
Yeah, which he does it again in the movie, when you actually see it, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
And as I started watching this, I started to realize, especially when she said she's a muse, that I started to realize it's not exactly, but it's oddly similar to Xanadu, only that was a musical, and she was a muse, but she was like the daughter of a god, not sent by the gods. Well, she was sent by the gods. She's daughter of the god, a god, it was Zeus. So
you're confusing me a little bit.
The movie Xanadu is about a woman who is sent as a muse for an artist. He's an album cover artist, and she's sent to help him do something. Just like here, she's there to help him inspiration for the window.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that, only it's not a musical, and there's no mannequin, and unlike this movie, in that movie, everyone can see her as a person, where here, there's a thing where unless he's by himself, she appears as a mannequin. Although the mechanics of this are very confusing, because later when he's fighting with the security guard, he's not looking at her, so she's able to knock him upside the head. But then when they kidnap all the female mannequins, except for it's not all the female mannequins, just all the ones that are in the windows, I guess.
You're way getting ahead.
I know. I'm saying important stuff. They apparently put her in storage, and she's not able to get up and move. I don't know how, but and it's like, oh, maybe he has to be there, but no, because she gets up and leaves him when he's sleeping to go in the window, and he's not there.
It's probably because again, we're getting ahead of ourselves, so we should probably go back after this.
I did also notice. Hold on.
I'm gonna say this.
Whose review is this, Mister?
Hey, you're gonna make me forget if I don't get this off my chest. But anyway,
please.
I think the reason why.
Don't go topless.
I think the reason why she didn't just get up and walk away is because you gotta remember that one gentleman comes in where he's trying to like zip up his pants or whatever.
The janitor.
Yeah, the janitor.
I'm talking about before that, when she was put in the storage. There'd be no one around to see her.
The janitor was probably there, and just said he was probably in storage, and just as he left, that's when Jonathan's ex-girlfriend just happened to come in. Therefore, she couldn't probably escape at the time.
Yeah.
You never know, because we don't see what's going on in the storage at the time. So he could have been in there, just so happened to go out for a second to go to the bathroom, and just as he does that, that's when the ex-girlfriend comes in, and was taking care of them.
There's something else I noticed too, when she's like when she's throwing the things down the machine, and she goes to get, I want to call her Gracie because that's what she was in
Roxy?
Big Trouble in Little China. No, I'm talking about Emmy, but I know her as Gracie Law from Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay.
But when she turns around to get her, she's holding on to the fence, the mannequin is. So at one point, she was able to move at least to grab the fence to try to stop her from taking her, but it didn't work.
Mm.
But let's go back.
Yeah, we're going a little ahead of ourselves.
So, Jonathan has as much bad luck losing jobs as it is getting jobs, although he almost kills himself, because as he walks by this department store that has his mannequin in it, he runs into Estelle Getty's character, Claire.
You talking about the
old lady.
I
believe her name is Claire.
Yeah, Claire.
And so as they're introducing themselves, the sign that's up above, I think they're trying to put it up.
Yeah, because the sign said it was 100 years. It was a 100-year anniversary.
And it falls, and he basically sort of saves her life. And he gets caught on the side of it, swinging. Every time it goes up on one end, it shocks him in the ass and possibly the balls. Because it's from the back, so it could be both.
Well, it's between the legs.
But just between the legs, so probably a combination of both. But it happens a couple times. So he gets a job, and we're introduced to the biggest slime ball in this movie, Mr. Richards.
Yep. Played
by James Spader. And if you want a slime ball, this guy's perfect.
Because basically what he's doing is he's working for another. He's
working for Roxy's boss.
BJ.
BJ, yeah. This guy,
he's basically trying to help BJ, who runs another department store called Illustra, try to buy Prince and Company, which Jonathan just so happens to.
Yeah, that's where he works for now.
Works for because of Emmy being there as the mannequin still. She hasn't come back. She hasn't come to life yet. Basically, he's on the phone with BJ and trying to say, it's a ghost town in this department store. No, they're going to be begging to buy this, or they're going to be begging to sell, so to speak. And just as he hears Claire coming, outside his door, he basically has to hang up, and basically that's when they walk in. Basically says, I want you to give this guy a job, and Richards basically asks, Jonathan, what kind of work experience has he had? He's like, he just had about every job, and he wants to do something with mannequins, and basically says, well, I got the perfect job for you, and apparently it's a stock boy, and he's.
I thought it was the mailroom at first, and then I realized that wasn't mail. He was pushing around with his lingerie.
Yeah, and it just said, and he basically gets on the phone with Roxy, tells him he got a new job, and as he's on the job, he's on the phone with her. Basically, one of his coworkers like, Switcher, get those panties up to lingerie, and then there's this like whole thing with panties going on for about 2 seconds, and this one guy, yeah, and we'll get to him in a sec, but
jail.
Sentinel gets one with a sack, but anyway, basically hangs up, and then we get to see Roxy and this other guy go for it.
Penzies?
Just go.
I don't know the guy's name, but this character cannot exist nowadays. If this character existed, he'd be in jail for life. He's all over Roxy. Even later, when they're sneaking in the department store, he's like, I have something for you. I'm like, jail for life. This guy would go to jail.
And not to mention, back in the 80s, they had the whole thing with the commercials about sexual harassment at the workplace. How did this get? I mean, how would...
I think his last name is Weinstein.
Well, no, because we already discussed that he was one of our friends, the Groby.
Even he's not that bad. Even Groby's not that bad.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't know. He'd have to look at it himself. I mean, just the way he talks or approaches women, maybe most likely.
Yeah, but the thing with Groby is he's most likely joking. This guy's 100% serious.
Yep.
Jail.
Yep.
Yes. And Roxy, I think, is an unnecessary character because she's supposed to be the girlfriend of Jonathan, but they're not going to end up together. He's going to end up with Emmy. So she's really not unimportant. She only serves the purpose that she works for the bad guys.
By the way, earlier when I called her by Emma, that is her real name.
Yeah, it's weird. I looked it up on Wikipedia. It's EMA, but then Emmy is a nickname. It's weird. Some people have nicknames longer than their actual name.
Her character's full name is Emma Hezare, but her nickname is Emmy. So if I say Emma or Emmy, it's the same character. Not that Emma, but I was thinking that for a second after I realized it. But no, they call her Emmy throughout most of the movie. It's just her real name's Emma Hezare. They just use Emmy.
Yeah, and so
just want to get that off my chest.
She helps Jonathan to come up with good designs for
the window display.
Eventually, but we meet the resident window dresser, Hollywood Montrose.
He's my favorite character in the whole movie. Anybody that hasn't seen this movie, watch it just for this one character.
This guy's fashion style. Oh, one thing I should mention. Now, I said before that Dream a Little Dream is the most 80s movies. I'm thinking 80s rock style. Like, if you think of rock and roll in the 80s, that's what that movie is. This is new wave 80s to a T, and it all goes on Hollywood Montrose's body. He's got throughout the movie, he wears these sunglasses that I've never seen before.
They change every day.
His clothes, my God. No, I don't remember the guy's name, but he was
Hollywood Montrose.
No, the actor's name.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Should say.
No.
No?
Just says Andrew McCarthy. Maybe it's up here.
No, hang on. 1 second, folks. I'm sorry.
I think it's Mechak Taylor. Mechak Taylor. He was Anthony on Designing Women. I know that because
that's one right there, isn't it?
No, that's the director.
Are you sure that's the director?
Yeah, I think it's Mechak Taylor or something like Mechak Taylor. and don't put me on that to type it out, but I think it's Jack Taylor. He was Anthony on Designing Women. He was the teacher and later principal on Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. And I've seen him in other things. But, yeah, he's one of the funniest characters in this movie, and he's ridiculous. This movie is ridiculous. There are montages in this that just, like, there's one montage. First of all,
Estelle Getty here.
That's Claire.
No, because it says his outrageous and flamboyant co-worker Estelle Getty from.
Estelle Getty is Claire. She's the Golden Girls lady.
How can it be? Oh, here it is.
So,
Okay, Messiah Taylor. That's the one. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah, Meshach Taylor. Meshach.
Yeah.
Meshach Taylor.
Sorry, I was looking at the wrong name.
I was trying to read that.
I saw the flamboyant co-worker, and I assumed what was after that was the one.
Meshach Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah. My bad.
So I was remembering in my head if I had a few moments, but yeah, this place has the worst security guard ever.
G.W. Bailey.
G.W. Bailey, and if you think this guy's something out of Police Academy, you're goddamn right, because he's from Police Academy.
Not exactly Police Academy. Hollywood Montrose mentions after Jonathan meets up with him, goes to see him.
I'm talking about the movie Police Academy.
Well, first off, I want to say this.
Yeah.
Basically, Hollywood told Jonathan as they were getting the window displays set up, saying that don't worry about Felix. He just has a bad case of Miami Vice.
Miami Vice. He
doesn't dress like Miami Vice, but
he dresses like he's from the movie Police Academy, which he was in. So was Kim Cattrall. So.
But the way he acts is more Miami Vice. I'll take it.
Bit of both.
But then again, we also got to talk about the dog. If we're talking
Rambo.
Rambo.
I did make it talk like Stallone for a minute there too.
Okay.
Hey yo, why'd you give me a bone? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Rambo, and then he's got a different dog at the end when he works for the other store.
And in case you didn't catch the name of that dog, it was Terminator.
How dare you? Terminator.
I kind of wonder if they came up with these names just because of those 80s movies at the time.
And it is even funnier because Rambo's the name of the dog. Estelle Getty would end up being in a movie with Stallone called Stop, My Mom Will Shoot. And, yeah. So that's kind of funny, but I'm talking about like the police chase at the end with him and all the, not police chase, but him, the security chase at the end.
Yeah,
chasing Jonathan through the department store.
It's not Prince and Company, it's the Illustro one.
The Illustro one.
When he's going
all
to
these security guards that are with him, they feel like they're out of the movie Police Academy too. They're just falling all over the place. They're running into each other. Jonathan's going, wee! He goes bowling. He's like, Steve Reich, knocking them down. It's like, these guys are idiots. They're from Police Academy. Where's Steve Gutenberg when you need him? I mean, Jesus. And I haven't seen Police Academy, but like, no, but that's wrong.
Then again, it could also be some of the Blues Brothers, the first one. When
I would say that whole climax running around would be even funnier if it went
you need to mute that film and put that song on and see how good that works. You need to test that out and see how funny it is.
We shall see.
Okay.
But yeah, and so of course they fall in love. I posed the question. It's very weird.
They didn't fall in love quite yet. Not after the first night.
He's probably
because Jonathan's trying to like get ready for his date with Roxanne, so to speak.
Yeah.
Emmy
we get our first montage.
Yeah, Emmy does. Emmy's trying to get ready for the window and everything. She's trying to help the window up. She gets undressed in the middle of the department store, thankfully with no security cameras at the time. And then basically after like Jonathan covers her up and everything, which you don't see the nudity. Don't worry. The only nudity you see is actually the mannequin from the start that apparently Jonathan's working with. But again, it's not much. But the thing is, as soon as Jonathan covers her up, again with no nudity involved.
PG.
Yes, kind of. I would imagine PG-13. That has to be at a time before PG-13 was a thing. It has to have been.
Well, this came out in 1987, the year of my birth, by the way. PG-13 was amended in 1984 because of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Gremlins.
Okay.
There isn't really much you could say. They say shit a couple times. But other than that, there's really nothing it's 80's PG too, so you can get away with a lot more.
Right. But the thing was, I'm trying to say is that after he covers her up, you cut straight to Roxy, so to speak. You cut back to Roxy, who's apparently asleep on the couch while still watching TV. It just became daytime. Jonathan's apparently sleeping in the window display, where there's a homeless guy who's apparently looking at the window display and him in it, and he's probably giving him like this thumbs up, like, yeah, that looks pretty cool. And he realizes that Emmy is frozen back into a mannequin again.
He thinks maybe he imagined it.
Or that he's having hallucinations, or he's just insane.
Yeah. And then she comes back to life, and
the next day,
and she explains that she can only appear to him as a human person.
He's the only one that can see her. If anybody else is just happen to be around, she turns into a mannequin again.
Which I feel like it's a storytelling element so that it could kind of spread out the plot. Because if everyone could see her, I think it'd be easier for him to kind of keep going forward. But because he's got to try to explain certain things, and people think he's weird, and if it wasn't for that, the whole thing with them stealing a mannequin wouldn't work either. Well, it probably could have, but then there's a whole thing where they're on a motorcycle and like she freezes with the middle finger up.
Yeah, and Felix is like, that is it. Felix does not take this from no mannequin.
By the way, the dog is terrified of her. Which raises the question: can the dog see her?
No, because the mannequin freezes as the dog comes up.
Then why is the dog so afraid of her?
Because she's a mannequin at the time. The dog doesn't like mannequins. That's the thing. That's the whole thing of the dog. Felix mentions that every time Rambo sees a mannequin, he gets so scared. He's scared of it. So when the dog runs into the elevator and then runs out whimpering, it's because he sees the mannequin. That's the whole gist of it.
You know what? I just thought of something that's pretty funny. The dog Rambo and Felix.
Mm-hmm.
They could be Courage and Eustace. Because Courage is, oh, you stupid dog, you made me look bad.
But the Rambo did pretty much make Felix look bad after a while.
Then he got a new dog.
Again, we brought that up already, but
yeah.
The funny thing is that as they get out of the elevator, Felix looks at him with the nightstick, and Jonathan's like, "Easy, Felix. I don't think she's armed."
Well, she is.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean with the weapon.
Yeah.
But then he looks in the elevator, and then
it would have been funny if he was carrying a different mannequin that had no arms, and he said, "I don't think she's armed." That would have been funnier.
Yeah. But the funny part about this is about that night that you see Felix the last time. He's in between the two elevator doors. So he's like, "You can fool Rambo, but it won't work with me, Switcher." And as he finishes that, the elevator doors start closing on him. Right as he's like right in the middle of it all, and he continues saying, "My brain is quicker than I." And just as he just says the elevator just poof.
Not quicker than the elevator.
Yeah, he just clamps onto him. Funny as hell. So.
As someone who's been squished in an elevator before, that happens.
Yeah, my place has a small elevator, so it happens pretty often over there too. So anyway, apparently the next window display is just her on a bicycle, and
there's others on bicycles too. It's like a
there's others on bicycles.
I think it's supposed to be like exercise bikes.
Yeah,
and then he set it up, and he turns on the motor, and it takes his pants away.
Yep. Then basically the next scene after that is Jonathan sleeping. He gets a call from Roxy. Tells her, she tells him, like, "Hey, I want you to meet me at this place for dinner or for lunch or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, I remember that place. I almost burnt the joint down." That's the other job we mentioned earlier. Yeah. So he goes there. Roxy apparently has this proposition to have him come work at Illustra, and he turns it down because he knows that at Prince & Company he's got the best job that, and
here's one thing I don't understand. So they eventually get pictures of him canoodling with the mannequin, so to speak, rolling around on the floor.
Yep. Because Felix is there. Because Felix just so happened to be there before they even seen it. So.
And so they get pictures, but instead of outing him to the public and making him look like a cuckoo nut and getting him thrown in that house, like, no, let's use this to have him come work for us.
Well, that was supposed to be blackmail.
Yes, but if they're trying to put this place out of business, they could post this all over the place. Say, hey, they got a cuckoo nut working for this place. He's crazy. And then he'll get thrown in the nut house, which will drive their business down because he won't be there to put this place up. And so, again, they have to do this other plan, or the movie would be over and he'd be in a nut house and he'd lose, and Mannequin, would not, it wouldn't be a happy ending. So we have to have our characters be idiots.
Yeah, because we need a happy ending. That's the whole gist of these movies.
Yeah.
But anyway, before they even get to do the picture thing, we should probably bring this up. They're actually, Roxy and the other guy are apparently in the store while it's closed, while Felix is doing his rounds, and they're crawling around on the floor, and once again...
May I show you something in your size?
Yeah. He's
Jail! Jail! Lock him up, throw away the key, launch into outer space, he's not getting up. Jail!
I would say, I told you earlier, when you throw away the key, you put it in a gopher hole hundreds of yards away!
Not a gopher hole, wormhole, space.
You just put it in the gopher hole. That's how it works.
Lock him up.
Yep.
Jail.
But, yeah, pretty much. So yeah, because he always wanted to make love in the middle of whatever department they're in. He was talking about the leather and everything. He starts smelling the leather and everything.
Are you sure Hollywood's not more his? Especially since later he can't get it up. So.
Yeah, but then they go to where he is. They take the pictures. Roxy apparently pushes him down the elevator. Almost breaks her camera apparently.
The escalator.
Yep.
Escalator. Yeah, he falls down the escalator. Like, oh, my camera.
Yep.
The camera.
Yeah, that's the thing she's worried about is the camera.
Yeah.
But anyway, so then Felix and Jonathan start getting to this like fight or whatever. Felix is actually doing a better job than Jonathan was. Apparently Jonathan's getting his butt kicked. Then there's a part where Jonathan tackles him like a spear in wrestling. He basically tackles him into some soccer balls, I think it is. And just as Felix is about to hit him with the nightstick, Emmy's behind him, where Felix can't see her, kicks him, and then that's when Jonathan punches him. And this is something that I can relate to. Jonathan basically says, I think he's sitting with Emmy, and he says the classic line that I can relate with. Teach him to mess with a man and his mannequin. Because you know why that I can relate to that. My waifus.
So
basically, they're riding on the exercise bikes from the window display.
Yeah.
And then Emmy comes across this wing glider. Yep. So she starts flying on the wing glider and in the middle of the department store.
I know that it's supposed to be her, and then she turns to a mannequin. But it's very obvious that it's like a mannequin already. Because it's very straight. They're not moving. When you show it from the seat from behind, it's not moving. When it's up close, it's her because it's just probably not even it's... Well,
no, because there's a part where Jonathan sees her. She does wave.
Yeah.
She does wave there. So, but the thing is, once Felix and Rambo actually sees Emmy coming right at them, within the wing glider, Rambo's like,
our language,
yeah. Basically crashes into him, and next day comes around, he's sleeping on the job, and that's when Richard and Claire come up to him. Basically, Claire asks Richard to fire him and everything. Yeah. And Richard's all trying to defend him and everything. So Claire's like, all right, I'll tell you what. While you go and get Felix's last paycheck, get your own as well. So basically, they fire them both. And Jonathan keeps his job and everything.
He gets promoted, vice president.
That was later though. It supposedly takes him a while because as he's doing these window displays with Emmy for the duration that we have no idea how long it's been.
Another montage.
Yeah, because they have these montages and everything where. During the night, he's with Emmy doing the window displays. During the day, he's with Emmy while she's a mannequin around the store, going to top secret places. Everybody's eavesdropping on him and such.
Yeah, there's a scene where one thing about Hollywood is that he just sort of brushes it off. He just everyone else is so worried. She's talking to a mannequin, and he's just like, oh, whatever. And so he takes her into the ladies' room. He says, oh, the men's room's not working.
Yeah.
Takes her to the ladies' room where he's talking. And he got all these women, three women, and going.
Well, it's just the one right now. Well, yeah, the
There's
one was coming out of the restroom, but then she's eavesdropping, and he's hearing him talking to Emmy. That's when he brings the other two in, and they start eavesdropping.
Yeah.
And once Jonathan and Emmy start kissing and everything, Hollywood comes up to the women's restroom and says, "I believe my Jonathan is in there," and they're like, "You can't go in there. He has a company, if you know what I mean." And he's like, "And who do you think introduced him?" And then he goes,
I like that. Who do you think introduced them?
yeah. And he basically walks right in there.
See, that's why he doesn't care.
Shuts the door.
Yeah.
And then looks and then sees him kissing, and he's like, "You know, I never bother you with you piece of wood."
Yeah.
And then he starts crying, and then he's like, "Who's crying? It's either our new vice president, the fairy, or the dummy."
Yeah. This is 1980s. They say that word. Nowadays, you couldn't say that word.
Sorry for saying that word.
Right. Yeah.
But
fairy princess.
Yeah, but that's they do say that in the movie. It's only an example.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to offend anyone. So apparently, illustrious profits are down, and he's blaming all his workers for not. He's blaming everybody.
I think the problem is this guy's a terrible boss.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not like his workers aren't doing their job. It's because Prince and Company with the new window displays and everything, they're doing better because of these window displays, promoting their stuff.
Yeah.
And Illustra is apparently not doing so well because of that. And he's blaming his workers for that. Or at least BJ Ward is. So then that's when he goes through the photos, sees Jonathan with the mannequin.
Yeah.
And basically...
Decides to blackmail him.
Yeah, he wants to blackmail him.
So, now we get to the scene I want to talk about. Damn sex.
That's a little too far.
What do you mean? It's coming
That's
up.
after Felix and Richards chase him in the car while he's on the motorcycle.
Oh, by the way, this is the most ridiculous thing. They're chasing them in the car. This is where you get the finger. But they're chasing them in the car, and they go through this alleyway, right? And so they're going up, and they jump over this thing, and then the car jumps over and gets stuck. Now, wouldn't you think, or maybe going up higher, it's thinner? I don't know, but they get stuck. Richards and
BJ.
Felix.
Oh, yeah.
Felix.
Yeah.
They're stuck. And I'm just like, okay, maybe it's a little bit...
What I'd like to know is how they got out of the car to begin with when they got back to Prince and Company.
Maybe that car has a new sunroof.
I don't think you ever see this.
Break the
windshield?
windshield, yeah.
They probably got Richards. Felix probably got Richards.
You can kick out the front windshield or the back one at any point. I've seen it on movies.
Okay.
So.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So then Emmy and Jonathan basically go back to the department store. That's when they get a little woo-woo action.
I had a question at the beginning of the movie, and it still stands because they end up having sex. We don't see it. They're just canoodling.
They're in a tent.
They're in a tent, and then
they're on a hammock.
So what if they were, doing it, and someone walked in? Would he be stuck?
The only one that would do that would have been Hollywood. Hollywood's the only one that's actually in that store at that time.
I would actually like to see his reaction to that.
Yep.
Oh, good Lord. Whoop! I don't think you take it that far. But it'd be really weird if someone walked in. Would you be stuck in it? Would it solidify what, I don't know. Or would you just be laying on top of it?
That'd be interesting.
Maybe I'm thinking a little too hard, but yeah.
So basically, they're covered up under what I believe is a fur blanket or some sort.
Fur coats.
Oh, it's fur coat. Okay.
Fur coats.
So
because later when he gets up, you can tell it's a coat.
Yeah, and he passes out, falling asleep under that. Emmy
and
sneaks
this is
up.
where I come back to where, she's able to walk and get dressed and go into the front window without him there, so he doesn't have to be there for her to be human.
Like I said, even though we don't see what's going on in the storage room, the janitor was probably in there the whole time. And just as he left, that's when Roxy walks right in to dispose of the mannequins. And
I get that. I'm just saying, I don't know, the rules are a little sketchy sometimes.
I understand. Because I would imagine that janitor works in that room, so. Because you see him at the end of the movie just in there sweeping some stuff, so to speak, that just fell on the floor.
Yeah, so
basically Emmy gets kidnapped.
Yeah, because they come and they decide, because they can't figure out which one's which. They steal all the female mannequins. Well, they say all, but there's 2 in the window still.
Well, there's a few. There's a few. They don't steal them all, but they apparently left a few.
Jonathan runs, and we see him next to keep his pants on, and then he knows exactly where it is, so he goes to Illustrated. He confronts BJ and the
Roxy
others.
and Richards, and then when Roxy goes to basically to that storage room or whatever to destroy the mannequin of Emmy.
Well, I should also mention Hollywood's the one that bring him there.
Yeah,
bright ass pink car.
Yeah.
Which is on the cover of the poster for the sequel.
Yeah. No, he's on the market.
It's in the sequel. They're sitting. Yeah.
I didn't think of that. But anyway, so basically, Hollywood brings him there. Jonathan confronts Roxy. Roxy goes to take care of Emmy and try to destroy the mannequins. And that's when we get the whole thing with the security guards, because as he comes out of the boardroom, there's a security guard that just stops to tackle him. Jonathan apparently handcuffs his one hand, and the security guard's hand, like underneath between his legs, and cuffed him somehow with that.
Yeah.
And
then this is where I'm sitting there going, police academy. So it's down to the fact that the guy who plays Felix was in
G.W. Bailey?
G.W. Bailey was in Police Academy.
Yep. And that's when we also see that he got the new dog. That's one's called Terminator. And they basically run.
Not to interrupt you, but if you're gonna go, if you had first dog Rambo, you should have called it Conan. Maybe people might not have gotten that reference over Terminator. It's Conan the Barbarian.
Well, first off, you gotta remember Terminator was a very popular movie because Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's probably the reason why they went with it.
Yeah, Terminator. I get it, but
just like Rambo. I would imagine.
This takes place in Philadelphia, and they didn't call the dog Rocky.
Well, they already did the Rambo thing. That's Stallone, isn't it?
Yeah, that's Stallone. I don't know, but
maybe they just wanted to do someone else. They said, well, let's do Terminator. It's a different dog, a different actor. Who knows? So yeah, and so basically, Jonathan goes to the back and everything where Roxy to save her. As he's doing that, that's when the security guards actually do tackle him and bring him to the floor. They dogpile him, but he slips out of underneath of him, and just as he's running away, Hollywood's right there with a freaking fire hose, and he's spraying the daylights out of him. So Hollywood's taking care of the water, and Jonathan's going to get Emmy. That's when Roxy apparently is getting showered with papers and cardboard and whatever.
She works there, but I guess she doesn't understand when they get shredded where it goes, because she's standing right underneath where the thing goes.
Yep. So Jonathan goes in and sees Emmy on this conveyor belt where there's I don't know what it is, but it's some kind of industrial saw blade or something.
Like a wood chipper or something.
Yeah, something like that. And that's when the janitor just happens to walk in. He's like, "Hey, you can't come in here." As he's trying to
pull his pants up. What were you doing, I wonder?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, like I said, he was probably in the bath. He went to the bathroom or something.
Went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Maybe he was showing a lady something in her sides. Jam.
But anyway, he gets.
No, we don't see that guy again after that one scene. Is he dead? He fell off the thing. We don't see him again. Is he dead?
The janitor?
No, maybe something in your side. That guy. After he falls on the escalator, we don't see him again. Is he dead?
No, he's in that one scene where he takes Roxy back to.
Oh, that's right. Can't get it up.
Yeah, he takes her back to his place, and he's under that tiger blanket.
I'm so sorry. It's never happened to me before.
Exactly.
That's why I say he's not like Groby.
Yep. Yeah. But anyway, so Jonathan saves Emmy just in time before she gets.
And she turns human.
She turns human right in front of the janitor. Yeah, so and as the janitor sees that, he turns off the blade, and all of a sudden you go back to Hollywood with the water hose, and the water is turned off.
Yeah.
And they charge after him, and my favorite part is when Hollywood's just standing going, and then you hear Richards go, "Shoot him!"
Shoot him.
So then, for some reason, even though I don't know how long it takes to get to that room, you get constant, like, for some reason, you still get the security guards just getting up off the floor, trying to get back there. It's like 2 or 3 times you see that. You see them. And of course, Jonathan and Emmy are kissing. And just as they come down the belt, as Roxy's getting kissed by the janitor, Hollywood comes in, sees Emmy, and Jonathan's telling him, this is actually Emmy. And he's actually lifting his sunglasses up for the first time in the movie. And he's like, Mama put the coins in my eyes because I surely don't believe what I am seeing.
Coins in my eyes? How's that English? Is that English?
I don't know. So, because he realized she was the mannequin. She was the mannequin the whole time.
Yeah.
And BJ, Felix...
And he's in the sequel too, by the way.
Yeah. BJ, Felix, and Richards with the security guards all come in, find Jonathan, try to arrest him and everything, and they realize they see Emmy like, wait a minute, who is she? And Jonathan's like, she's who I came for. And this is where, like, Felix is like, she's the dummy! He says that that's his only line for the rest of the movie.
She's the dummy!
She's the dummy! She's the dummy!
At this point, my stupid ass Blu-ray player told me to connect the internet, so I could only listen to this part. And I kept hearing, she's the dummy! It's all you can say, trying to get it to work.
So basically, Claire comes out of nowhere. I don't know where she's been this whole time.
I have proof.
Yeah,
these two broke into my store.
Yeah. Because apparently after she had fired Felix and Richards, she finally
put a camera in there.
She got security cameras in there to capture whatever was going on.
And it's funny because Jonathan's like, so
did those security cameras capture everything last night? And she's like, I only saw what I needed to see.
Only saw what I needed to see.
Yep. So basically, Richards and Felix get arrested by the security guards who originally were chasing after Jonathan, but decided to arrest them because Claire says, I caught these guys for breaking entry, grand theft, and then Jonathan's like, yeah, you can add kidnapping to that too. And they're like, wait a minute, kidnapping? Who? And he's like, me? And then
that's going to be kind of hard to prove.
And BJ's like, who are you? And
she's the dummy!
Yeah. And then Emmy's like, this poor man's having a breakdown. And as Felix is getting carried away to apparently the jailhouse, he's like, Mama, I want my mama. And then
we get the song.
No, not yet, because BJ then gets arrested because he's trying to like work something out with Claire. Claire does nothing of it. Security guards arrest him.
And he fires Roxy. Like that needed to happen, but okay.
Yep.
And then we get the song.
Yep, and then we get the song that
Nothing's gonna stop us now by Starship.
Yep, and if you watch the music video is heavily inspired by the movie.
It's connected to the movie. I saw when I was watching Minty Comedic Arts video on it that the 10 facts you didn't know. They showed a clip and they show that the lead singer of Starship turns on the water hose and it cuts to the shot of Hollywood shooting the water hose.
Yeah, and then I think the other one turns it off, and then the water hose goes off too. Also, while the song is playing, you get to see the last window display they do for the movie, where it's Jonathan and Emmy getting married, and apparently Hollywood is apparently the best man, and he's all
best man. It looked like he was the Reverend.
No,
he was standing in the middle between them. Oh, it's like he was. Marrying them.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. He's probably he's probably Reverend
Claire and some other guy.
Claire, I would imagine is probably one of the bridesmaids for Emmy. I think because it's her store. Yeah. So I just assume Hollywood was the best man because he's friends with Jonathan and everything. But I will say this, not to spoil anything about the next movie, only one actor comes back to that movie. Only one, and that is Hollywood. Hollywood's the only one that comes back to the sequel. Yeah. Everybody else you don't see.
And that movie stars William Ragsdale, who you may know as Charlie Brewster from, not you, but the people watching.
I figured that.
Charlie Brewster from Fright Night. And Christy Swanson, who is Buffy the Vampire Slayer from the movie. So there's a vampire connection there.
Okay.
Yeah. And I will be covering that when I eventually do the sequel-a-thon too, whenever I get to that April.
I'm just going to say this right now for you. I'm going to say this right now for you. This is the longest review I think you've ever done.
What does it say? 50 minutes?
Yes.
It's getting close. My review for, was it season 6 or 7 of The Flash went about this long.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
But, yeah, this is probably long. If it was just me, I probably would have been done already. But I'm going to say this movie's pretty good.
And I'm going to steal your thing for your review because this is your channel. I feel like I should have a right
Yes.
to do that. I'm going to say, to the moon!
He has a more personal connection to it than I have.
Again, I watched it since I was a kid. Well, not exactly when I was a kid, but I grew up watching it. So it's one of those movies I like going back over and over again.
I have to roll the dice.
Okay, roll the dice. That's all my keychains.
It's over here. Okay. Let's switch. My arm itches. Hold on.
6.
6. Okay. Better, when I first rolled, I got a 12.
Can I do this? Do you start from the bottom or
Stop
up?
top.
Stop top. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one.
Oh, I didn't switch it back. Hold on.
There you go.
Okay. Short circuit. Johnny 5. I'll have to put the Rob robot in my review right here.
We need to wrap this up quickly because
I call this number Johnny 5.
Okay. We need to wrap this up quickly because NXT's about to start.
So what are your thoughts on
Mannequin?
What are your thoughts on Mannequin? It's just my chest in the video.
Oh.
What are your thoughts on Mannequin? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty.
And I've been BigLT.
I'll see you in the next one.